allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll start off with a little housekeeping item. As far as swearing in trustee Myers and trustee Bernwald, we technically are supposed to do that by the first or the second. Had a little snafu, so we're just gonna take care of that right now. And I move to appoint David Bernwald and Marcy Myers to fill the remaining 4-year term ending in 2028. Is there a second for that?
I second it.
Motion's been made and supported. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. All right, now we'll do roll call. Myers?
Here.
Boehm? Here. Imhoff?
Here.
Bernwald? Clark Hubbard is here. Agenda, everybody should have got a copy of that. Any adds or changes? I wanna add one item, in new business, in between the PA 116 application and, fiscal year end 24 audit for 2025 Board of Review resolutions. So I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the agenda as presented with the addition of the 2025 Board of Review resolutions to new business. Is there support for that? Support. Motion's been made and supported. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Minutes from December 9th. Everybody should have had a copy of those. A chance to review them. Anybody have any comments or corrections? Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion to approve the minutes. What date was that?
December
12/9.
December.
Is there support for that? Motion's been made and supported. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Public comment on agenda items. So this is a public comment, time for anything that's on the agenda. Near the end of the meeting, we'll open it up to anything that's not on the agenda, so. Anybody have any public comment on agenda items? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the first public comment and move into the treasurer's report with Treasurer Boehm.
Okay, for the period ending December 31st, 2024, the Township General Fund had a beginning balance of $265,601, an income of $443, and expenses of $17,023, leaving a balance of $249,022. The fire district account had a beginning balance of $7,616. It had income of $20,675 for an ending balance of $28,292. Honeymoon Heights Lights account had a beginning balance of $5,362 with income of $1,457 and an ending balance of $6,820. The tax account had a beginning balance of $864, income of $442,615, expenses of $319,642 for an ending balance of $123,838. Our CDs, CD 301 had a beginning balance of $58,284, income of $246 for an ending balance of $58,531. CD302 had a beginning balance of $58,289 with interest income of $246 for an ending balance of $58,536. CD303 had a beginning balance of $50,000, had income of $421 for an ending balance of $50,421.
Any questions for Treasurer Bowen? I just wanted to, in the tax account, we have $123,000 left over, and obviously that's probably some batches left to be done, but part of that is the township's portion of taxes, so.
Correct.
We did move the fire district in Honeymoon Heights, some money to date over to them. And, normally they would wait toward the end, I guess, to move the township, portion. But I guess I'm just wondering if maybe we should move some, just so we get a better idea of what when we get into the budget to actual later, then we can kind of see what I mean, we don't show that we have any of our property tax other than the admin fee from summer, so that's just a thought, maybe we can talk about doing that.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions for, Jamie? Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Move that we approve the treasurer's report.
Is there support for that? Motion's been made and supported. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passed. Moving on to the clerk's report, and first off, approval of the January bills list. I have some late-breaking information on our insurance renewal. So, you'll notice the very last proposed bill was our insurance renewal to VHS Insurance for $9,605, which we knew that there was, from what our agent had told us, that there was going to be a pretty substantial increase in the rate because we were coming up on we'd already did year 3 of 3 last year of a fixed increase quote. Well, there was a $3,000 increase, pretty big. So we had to, so the policy renews on January 1st, so we did have to bind coverage. And in your packets, you should have a summary of the premiums. There was 2 options. The 9,600, that was $1,000 deductible, which we don't have a deductible, is my understanding now. And then they were able to do an option 2, which was more reasonable premium, 6,100, which is less than the 6,600 we're paying now, but a $5,000 deductible. We don't budget for deductibles. And yeah, you can say, oh, we're not gonna have any claims, and we haven't in a very long time, but you never know. So her recommendation to get the coverage bound, so we didn't lose coverage, was to go with the higher premium. After, I guess, this was in December 16th, we got these numbers, so there hasn't been a lot of time to get another quote. However, I did make some calls earlier today and talked to a couple other neighboring townships to find out who they use. And the 2 that I contacted both use the Michigan Municipal League, which is a group of 400 and some municipalities that all pool together. And their premiums were much more reasonable, that they told me that they were paying. So more in line with what we've paid in the past, and actually less. So I did contact the agent that they had mentioned, and she is going to run a quote for us. And in the meantime, I talked to our current agent at VHS, who I really like. I mean, she is a great agent. There's no doubt about it. She's just, her hands are tied with underwriters and, prices going up after this 3-year fixed, quote ended. So she said that, we do not need to pay that tonight, that 9,600. She said she totally understands, I mean, she doesn't wanna lose the business, but she does understand, as long as if we get this resolved and make a decision in the next couple weeks, I mean, we don't even have an invoice for the premium.
But we are covered as of
We are
January
covered. If we
1st.
wanted to pay it tonight, or in 2 weeks, say we didn't have it, we could pay that and we would get, refunded for whatever, we canceled, whatever we had the insurance from January 1. She, emailed me that, so, my recommendation would be to pull that off of the bills list for tonight, and I will work, the rest of the week to get, the agent at the, MML, is the acronym, what she needs to work on a quote, and, hopefully, we might have to call a special meeting toward the end of the month. We'll see how that all shakes out as far as timing wise, but I would, recommend that we pull that off of the bills list, which would make a new total, Ginger, if you wanna write this down, 27,318, and read my writing, 54 cents, I think, no, 57 cents, sorry. Otherwise, see all the rest of the bills, we did have 2 legal bills on here, a little over halfway down the 1,091, that is our share of the PA 233 appeal, that spread over 77 or 76 townships. I do have a brief update for that when we get into the supervisor's report. And then we also had another invoice, a few lines below for wrapping up, work they did in December with the planning commission's zoning work. The drain special assessment, 2024 drain and lake special assessment, $3,311. That is our share of the drain work they did in our township, this year, and that is, we only get, 1 charge a year, and, so we won't have any, further drain bills in this fiscal year. And then we also have, prepayment of postage on there, $1,214 to KCI, that is for mailing out the, 2025 assessment notices, which have to go out in February. So those are just a few highlights I wanted to know, and everything else, if you have any other questions, feel free to bring them up, but that's what we have for bills this month. I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to approve the bills, monthly bill report as presented, excluding the BHS insurance, check, for a total of the 27,318.57. Is there support for that?
Support?
Motion's been made and supported. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call. Myers?
Yes.
Boehm?
Yes.
Imhoff?
Yes.
Burnwell?
Yes.
Clark Hubbard, yes. Motion carries. Quick note, we worked with Blaine at Trusted Solutions to get year-end W-2s and 1099s sent out. Those have been mailed. We will e-file them at the end of the month. Just get a chance for everybody to look them over in case there were questions before we officially filed those with the Fed and state. And what else here? Quick update, status on our IT solution with BSNA. So BC3 or BSNA/BC3, who is our provider of hosting and remote services. So they are going to let us have our current rate, which is $117 a month for the month of January. It was on the bills list, and possibly February. It all depends, they are gonna start migrating us to their Atlanta location, and, when that happens, they were able to waive the $750, migration charge. But once we do get migrated to that new, data center, it's gonna be $600 a month. So we, that will be top priority, to get our solution figured out, whether we are going to do an in-house server, hiring one of the IT companies to come in and manage that for us, or if it makes more sense to just bite the bullet and go with BSNA's cloud service. So we need to get that figured out, pretty quick, before that rate goes up. And I think that's it for the bills. And probably not a whole lot with the election stuff, but I did see they came out with the calendar. Tuesday, May 6th is the, election. We will have a school election at that time, so I'll probably, don't know anything about it yet, So, we will, wait and see how that goes.
We may have an audit coming up.
From the president, they
Yeah.
randomly pick township.
I don't know if we what the date is. So, we'll find that out.
Okay. All right, that brings us to zoning administration. David Kelsey is here.
Okay. For the month of December, there was, one home, and that was at 8304 Vining. And then, demolition of a dwelling was 892030 Tamarack Road. On the, violations at 6685 Hemlock, they are in default. I'm gonna be issuing another ticket pretty soon. 7106 Cutler Road, that's still, it's involved with Rasmussen. He's working with the owner to, repossess the house so the original owner can get it back and he can clean it up. At 11381 Hickory, there was a camper pop-up trailer that's compliant. He got that out of there. At 11589 Juniper, I just issued another ticket. That's blight, scrap metal, tires, this and that. I just issued another ticket today for that. And, it was, in the last, I'd say 2 or 3 months, there's been probably, I'd say about 5 people that, called and asked about in-law suite. And I found out from the class I just went to, even a person can ask for a variance, they may not get it, but they can ask for a variance, even if it's not listed in our book. I always thought it was, if it was listed in another district, or another, district, I guess you'd call it, then you could, ask for a variance, but even if it's not in the book, like the, mother-in-law home is what they're asking about. And this lady, I told her she could ask for a variance, it's not guaranteed, but going by the laws, you can do that.
Cause it wouldn't be a use variance, right? I mean,
No, it's not a use,
residential.
just a variance, it would be a variance to put 2 houses on one property.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that's it.
Good. Any questions for Dave? So how did the training, was that, day before yesterday, was that
Yeah,
this past
it was
Saturday?
pretty informative, that was a big thing I learned there, a lot of it was just more of a refresher course for me. It was good for, the planning commission,
Mhm.
for anybody that went there for that.
And then you'll be letting us know or getting us some sort of, settlement of what our share with the other of your,
Yeah, they sent me an invoice tonight,
okay,
and, I don't know if it's right or not. I know they had, was so much money, and they had it down as 9 townships, I believe, breaking it up into that. And then on the bottom, it had, for me, I think it said, $25, but I don't know if that's divided into the 7 townships that are paying. I don't know what the average cost was on that. Like I said, I just got it tonight. It
we
didn't-
can, we'll get,
Yeah.
I was just curious if they had said how they were gonna.
Originally, Well, I signed up for it, and then I found out, Home Township signed me up for it, which they always have in the past. And, so I called the school and told them that, and they canceled my name off, but left it with, Home Township, so I believe they paid it. I'll talk to Cindy tomorrow, and if that's the case, then whatever the amount is, you guys have to, would send the check to Home Township, because they're the ones that paid the whole amount.
Okay, we'll settle up with that, later, and I know you also had put in a request for, mileage, and I am working on that, I know we have some other stuff coming up, we're gonna have to look at the state putting this new earned sick time, rules and regulations, so I gotta kinda look at that for all employees and kinda just take a look at how we're compensating.
Well, I don't put hardly any miles in, the only thing would be if, if I have to go out and check out a property or violations, I might have to go out there twice and
We're going to
once a
Stanton.
court every
Okay.
once in a while. And I would base it not from my house all the way out here, just from the township
Home
hall.
base, okay.
That's how the other townships are doing it, and then to there and back.
Okay.
But like I said, there's hardly any miles right now.
Alright,
So.
I will circle back with you and I just didn't want you to think I forgot about that, so. Marcy, any land division activity going on?
There hasn't been any,
Quiet?
very quiet.
Okay. Alright, planning commission, update, David?
Our meeting of last Wednesday, we didn't do any changes to our bylaws. We've left our positions on the board the same until we get somebody, our full, board. And then goals for 2025, we talked about tiny homes, short-term rentals, camping for other zoning, noise complaints. And that was one of the questions that Joe asked me to ask the board, if there's anything the board wants us to work on for 2025 specifically.
I mean, the things you touched on, I think were things that were on my radar. Also, whenever, I guess I'd like to tag this on to the next time we do have a public hearing, is we do have that quasi moratorium on the, accessory building height, where we're allowing the 25 feet. So that will need to officially get changed, but I'd rather try to save the cost of the publication and anything else, if we can do it all, lump a few things into one. And we do have in new business a recommendation for a candidate, so we'll wait on that. Zoning Board of Appeals, so there's actually an organizational meeting scheduled for tomorrow at 6 o'clock. And that is it for now on those items. Fire district update from Ginger.
Not much to update, it's just cold. I don't know if some of you saw the thing in the paper or online on Facebook where they went and did the Santa Claus at the high school, or the middle school, was it middle school?
Middle school, elementary.
Yeah, probably it was pretty cool. They took the ladder truck and Pat Carr was Santa Claus up in the ladder truck, and I thought they did a fantastic display on the, that parade that night. I don't know what night was it, for the Winter Fest, went through town. Very well represented with the big flags on the front all lit up, and it was pretty cool. And I thank them for doing that. But other than that, everything's pretty quiet.
Quiet, alright. Move into the supervisor's report. Assessing department, so the 2025 assessment notices are, in process. Those are due to be sent out in February, and Andy, our assessor, is working diligently on those, and the personal property tax statements, those have already been mailed out. Those are due out in January, so he's working hard. March Board of Review, so, dates are set. The Board of Review had their December meeting, and the Tuesday, March 4th at 11 a.m. is their organizational meeting. Monday, March 10th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. is appeals hearing number 1, and Tuesday, March 11th from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. is appeals hearing number 2. So we'll have to make sure we get all our proper newspaper notices and other postings together on those, and then we do have some new business for Board of Review resolutions later on. Roads, so David attended the meeting with the Road Commission in December. I wasn't able to attend that. We'll have more detail on this in a future meeting, but they did give us, the Road Commission had asked the county, when they were trying to figure out how to spend down some fund balance, for a substantial sum to help with local roads, and each township is going to be getting $100,000 from the county, but we also have to contribute $100,000 ourselves. So we'll be working on figuring out budgeting on that going forward. Of course, they'll come out with the road contracts. Usually they want those back in May. But they did give some recommendations on some roads, which we will save for a future meeting. We're waiting on a couple other, ask them to quote a couple other ones. So we will have more on that at a future meeting. Cemetery, minimal activity. I talked to Brian, not a whole lot going out there. Legal, so I did ask our attorney for an update on the PA 233 appeal. She said they filed their brief on appeal Friday the 3rd, which is their brief of the merits of the case. The other party's briefs will be due on February 7th, and then they'll have an opportunity to file a response after that. She said she'll keep me posted so that I can share that with you guys. Sounds like it's kind of working its way through the paperwork system. Still no decision from the Court of Appeals on, our law firm filed a motion to stay enforcement of PA 233 pending resolution of this case, and she said they're waiting any time for a decision on that. So that is that update. Events and meetings, we have the next Montcalm chapter MTA meeting will be February 18th. It's hosted by Evergreen and Bushnell Townships. Not sure the details yet, that hasn't come out, just wanted to give a heads up. The MTA's annual educational conference and expo, usually it's up north, I'm not sure if it's in Traverse City, it's actually in Grand Rapids this year, and that is March 31st through April 3rd. So if you're interested in going to that, please let myself or Ginger know, and we can, and we still have some money in the budget for training opportunities. And then I did get just a letter from the drain commissioner that they will be doing work over the next couple months on the Gibson culvert drains in section 30 of Cato Township. So just wanted to make note of that receipt. And that is it for supervisor's report. Moving into old business. So the fire district, we tabled this the last time. Andy Knapp at Maple Valley, the clerk at Maple Valley, had gone through and retyped the original agreement because nobody could find the Word version. And if you recall, we had approved and signed an addendum for them to add a 9th member to the fire board. So I hadn't had a chance. I just still wanted to kind of look and compare that agreement that was retyped to what I had. It's pretty much the same, just I don't know, it just kind of raised a few questions. I had a few questions that came to mind, and I guess I just wonder if one of our recommendations from our insurance provider in previous years was to, periodically have your attorney review your intergovernmental agreements and just, make sure everything's in good shape, and there was some things that I didn't think were maybe a little vague, I guess, in here, so I was gonna maybe ask Andy if the four, member townships might be interested. 3 of us use the same law firm, and having the attorney, before we, officially sign a new agreement, even though it's basically the same, it might be a good time now for them to look at it. And then if we did have to make any other changes before we, sign our names again, we're already part of the agreement, just to have the attorney look at it. So I'm gonna ask, Andy her thoughts on that and go from there. I don't think I did talk to her, and she was still waiting for the other townships. Nobody's gotten back with her on the paperwork anyway, so it's not like, it's just like they're waiting on us. So I guess we'll table that again until future. And that brings us to the first item of new business, planning commission. So I, as supervisor, make a recommendation to the board, for appointments, and we did, get, somebody filled out an application, and that is, Jordan Rasmussen, who is our current chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals. He is a, Lakeview native and local, attorney also, has done a great job on the Zoning Board of Appeals, and, he is interested in joining the Planning Commission, for the 3-year term ending December 31 of 2027. And, if we appoint him tonight, then he would actually be off of the ZBA, because only one member of the Planning Commission can be on the ZBA, and right now, Joe Main holds that position. So we would have to turn around and post another open position for that Zoning Board of Appeals, spot. So, that kind of throws tomorrow's meeting a little bit, maybe up in the air, so we'll see, what shakes out with that. But, I think everybody knows Jordan here. I think he'd be a great asset, and, I would move that we appoint, Jordan Rasmussen to the Planning Commission for a 3-year term ending December 31, 2027. Is there support for that?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Is there further discussion or questions, comments?
The only question I got, would it help for tomorrow's meeting if we waited till February, because we're not gonna have another meeting till March? It's just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there was a ton. I mean, Ginger serves as an alternate on that board, and it sounds like there's not a whole lot other than they would be electing officers, which probably would get tabled until we found someone else. So, that's again why I say tomorrow's meeting would be probably up in the air anyway. I would like to get him appointed tonight, so, but no,
Word
good
backs
question.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get him,
Just a
let's get him on there.
question.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Alright, hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So I will contact Jordan and let him know. And we will work on getting, the ZBA position on the website and, post in the window out here. Next item is we received an application for PA 116 Farmland Preservation Agreement. That is for parcel 004-013-006-03. That is, along M46, where M46 Auto, was.
Still
Yep.
is.
Yep, that parcel there, there's some farmland attached, and the new owners would like to, get that into PA 116, and those, that is an agreement between the property owner and the state, and they, basically it's farmland preservation over a period of years, and, again, that's between the owner and the state, but the, local government township boards have to approve that. So I have the application, it looks, complete, it's about, total number of acres on the farm is about 24. And one of the things in our master plan is that we, support the PA 116 farmland preservation, because we wanna see farmland preserved in our township. So, that is something in our master plan that we encourage, with farmland. So I see no reason, again, it was complete application. One thing we do have to do is send it to the local conservation district over in Stanton. And so I contacted them today, and it's good timing because they actually, have their meeting tomorrow. And, I scanned this over to her, and she said she would get it out to their board members. And so when it's, we have 45 days from this meeting to approve this application, but they also get within that time 30 days. But she said I don't anticipate, they'd get it tomorrow, and it should be no issues. So I think what I'd like to do is, make a motion to approve, this PA 116 application as presented, and, that's, I guess, contingent on not receiving any, I guess, negative, anything to the contrary from the conservation district, which, the gal I talked to doesn't expect. So, assuming I don't hear, they'll send a letter, for their recommendation, and if they came back with something, I'd bring this back to our February meeting. If not, we'll go ahead, and the clerk actually has to sign off on it, and we'll get it sent into the state.
You say that was 24 acres?
Yes. Cultivated 18, other acres 6.35. So I've made a motion to approve it, again contingent on, not hearing anything to the contrary from the conservation district. Is there support for that? Motion's been made and supported. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So we'll work together on this, Ginger, to get that submitted. And then the next thing was what I added for 2024 Board of Review, or 2025 Board of Review items. These are the same resolutions we would have approved around this time last year. Resolution to allow local residents to protest to the Board of Review in writing. So if you're a non-resident, the law already states you can protest in writing, but in order for residents to be allowed to protest in writing, whether that's letter or email, we as a board have to adopt a resolution. So that's the first resolution for approval. The other one is to set a alternate date other than the second Monday in March for the first appeals hearing meeting. Now, we've already set it as the first Monday in March, but Andy, our assessor, said just in case something comes up, you should always still approve to have it, that first appeals hearing start on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So that would be a resolution to authorize, if needed, the Board of Review to meet either on the Tuesday or Wednesday following the second Monday in March, in the event of a scheduling conflict. And then as long as public notice is provided at least 1 week prior to the appeals meeting in a newspaper of general circulation. So it's very important, you gotta do like 3 successive issues of publication for Board of Review. So that's the second one. The third resolution is adopting the poverty exemption income guidelines and asset tests. Same policy and guidelines we had as of last year. The only update is we received the federal poverty income guidelines for 2025, so I've updated that chart that goes along with our policy. So I guess those kind of go hand in hand together. So, any questions on that stuff? I know it's a lot, but it's kind of formalities, but we have to do it each year. I guess I could do it all in probably do each one as its own since they're each resolutions. I make a motion that we, approve the resolution to allow local residents to protest to board a review in writing. Is there support for that?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported, further discussion? Do roll call, Myers,
Yes.
Boehm,
Yes.
Imhoff, Burnwald, Clark covered, yes, motion carries. I make a motion that we adopt the resolution to, allow for an alternative date for March Board of Review, first taxpayer appeal meeting if necessary. Is there support for that?
Support.
Motion's been made and supported, is there further discussion? Hearing none, we'll do roll call, Burnwald, Clark covered, yes, Imhoff, Boehm,
Yes.
Myers,
Yes.
motion passes. And then lastly, I make a motion that we approve the resolution to adopt the poverty exemption income guidelines and asset tests, including the 2025 federal poverty income guidelines. Is there support for that? Motion's been made and supported. Further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, Myers,
Yes.
Boehm,
Yes.
Imhoff,
Yes.
Burnwald, Clark covered, yes. Thank you for your patience on that. And then I did also get something from the county treasurer. I'm sharing information on hardship extensions that I can provide. I'm asking you at the local level to consider helping those who may qualify for a poverty exemption at your upcoming Board of Review. And she just gives, a memo, kind of summarizes, trying to avoid people having to go into tax foreclosure. And it sounds like there is ways you can get a 12-month extension on a financial hardship exemption. And then another avenue is actually looking into the poverty exemption. So I thought maybe we could post this on our website, just, when people go on there, or we can direct them if anybody, has questions, just so they can read this summary and just kind of lead them to maybe see if they qualify. So just wanted to make note of that. And that brings us to fiscal year end June 30, 2024, audited financial statements. So that process is officially wrapped up. Everything was filed timely this year with the state. I'll have you turn with me to page 1, the independent auditors report. And I'll just read you the most important paragraph here. So it's under the opinion section at the top, second paragraph. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the respective financial position of the governmental activities, each major fund, and the aggregate remaining fund information of Cato Township as of June 30, 2024, and the respective changes in financial position for the year that ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So that is the auditor's opinion on our statement. That's the highest clean opinion. That is a clean opinion. So that's a good thing. We'll just kind of, you've had this so you can read through it, but just a couple quick highlights. You turn to page 11. So that shows our governmental funds, our general fund, our fire fund, and then that other category, that's the Honeymoon Heights special assessment fund for the street lighting. Pretty healthy fund balance at the end of the year. Now that does include that $50,000 that's reserved for the trail. That's something we've obviously spent some of that down this year, and we had budgeted, I think, our budget dips into fund balance about roughly 25,000, which has some cushion in it. I don't know that we'll go that far, but we need to, as a board, really hone in on that as we're coming up to this budget season. What is the minimum fund balance we want at all times for our operating expenses? Because that tells us how much we can actually spend on public services, the building, you just kinda gotta figure out what's our comfort zone. And, so that, I'd like to work on getting a policy to present at a future meeting, what my thoughts are after kind of crunching some numbers. So hopefully more to come on that. The only other fund we have would be our tax fund, which is a, page 15, should be 0. Right now, it's in full force with tax collections, but we collect it in and we disperse it out. So page 15, you'll see, what it should show, which is 0 assets and 0 liabilities, so. And then lastly, if you'll turn to page 26 toward the back, this is an important, schedule, which is our budgetary comparison schedule. And it's for the general fund, but that far right column is, in the expenditures, you never wanna see any negatives in the line items showing that you overspent your budget. You wanna show that you, ideally it would be 0, you spent exactly what you said you were going to, but we definitely don't wanna see it as overspent. We did not have any overspending in any categories, so that was a good thing. And then the last thing I wanna highlight, so there's the audit itself, and then there's some other forms that have to get filed with the state by December 31st. F-65, auditor's report, those are all filed. And then we also get a letter from our auditor with any recommendations. And this should come as no surprise. Earlier, in 2024, we had some issues with finding out that our payroll taxes had not been paid timely. So if you look on page 2, she gave us a recommendation that we review our policies related to the payment of payroll taxes. We noted some were not paid timely. We recommend having a review of the payroll process and payment of taxes completed by another board member each month. We've already done that. Back in, April, we hired Trusted Solutions Accounting when we noticed the issue. And I would say every single month we are now, if it's due on the 15th of the following month, we're paying it 2 weeks in advance. So we've already met that recommendation. Still have one residual effect from it, which again, should be no surprise. So we have to file a qualifying statement with the state of Michigan each year. It's really kind of more of a big deal if you're gonna try to issue debt securities. But they still make everybody do it, and one of the questions on there is, were you more than 30 days late more than once on payment of payroll taxes? And we had to answer that yes, because we had 2 instances, and that triggered a denial of being qualified to issue debt securities without getting approval from Treasury. So if we ever wanted to issue a bond for this fiscal year, we'll get to file a new one, which we won't have to answer that question. That way, for June of 25, we would have to get pre-approval from Treasury. So just in case you, all this stuff is posted on the local audit division on the state website, so you would see a denial letter. Just wanted to let you guys know that. So closing the door on that feels good. And then the last item is a mid-year review of the budget. So everybody should have gotten a QuickBooks report, has the general fund budget to actual, and then also, not quite as big a deal, but the fire millage budget to actual for that fund, and the Honeymoon Heights budget to actual. And we're just gonna focus mainly on the general fund. Some highlights. So you'll notice, I had been working with Blaine to group our revenue categories so it lines up with our audited financial statements. So we have 5 accounts that make up the township tax line. So you'll see that first total, subtotal there, total 101-402 township tax. We really have not collected much of our tax budget yet because the township's millage is on the winter tax bills. So we've collected 26,000, which is only our administration fee that gets charged on the summer bills, roughly 21,000, and then we get a fee per parcel that we charge the school district for collection of their summer taxes. That's the remaining difference. But you can see we've got a lot left to collect in that category for our winter tax bill, our portion of that millage. So that's why, you know, we have, for all the people that have paid their taxes, that's all in our tax account, we just haven't moved the money, over yet. So we'll maybe look into doing that versus just once at the end to a couple times like we did with the fire in the Honeymoon Heights. Other thing is our state revenues, about halfway down, 101,575, so that's our operating cash throughout the year. We've collected about 134,000 of our budgeted 192, so we've got, those payments come every other month. And then let you read our other kind of ancillary, smaller streams. And then, moving on to page 2, down in, expenditures, so we look at it, our, category, whether you're over or underspent, we look at it in the total category versus the little individual accounts, so you could see, a few differences, noted in the details, but overall, the cost center is not overspent. And we have Township Board, I do have some proposed, budget amendments, with regard to our legal fees. We've been doing a lot of, work, the planning commission's had a lot of, zoning work that, requires review of legal counsel. It's, very technical, items. Accounting fees with Blaine, we've been spending a little bit more there because, had a little bit of trouble with our QuickBooks file. She's had to, do some research, to deal with some things in the payroll module, but we've got that figured out, and, so we might, gonna be asking for a little more money, to shift around for that. Now that insurance line item 101,805, we have that check that we pulled out is in there, but we had budgeted 10,000, so I'm hoping we get this other quote, we'll see a substantial savings there. Otherwise, the other categories, nothing jumps too far out. Just go to page 4. The 950 contracts. So you'll see, for chloride, we had spent 25,000 roughly out of our 39,000. So we have $13,000 left to spend there. That will be our first chloride application, around Memorial Day. That falls in our fiscal year. It's the start of the 2025 season, but it's still in this current fiscal year. And then for our roads, we had, signed contracts of 105,000. We've been spending a lot on roads, trying to spend some fund balance down these past couple years. But, the road commission, the contracts actually for the 112, to the right there, they saved us some money and they only came in at 105. So we got about $7,500, that we could reallocate. And then, for drains, we never know in a given year what work is gonna need to be done. We only get charged in December, or October, and it's due in December. And, it was $3,300, and we always kind of just keep a cushion there of 10,000, so we've got some unspent money there if we wanna use elsewhere we can. And then the village DDA, that also comes in at the end of the calendar year, and that is showing overspent. We budgeted 4,000, but I'm assuming with the increase in property values, which is how that tax increments are based on, I think, not super well versed in that, but it was roughly 4,600, so we're a little bit overspent on that. But, so if you look at the first column, where the total is showing the negative 54,000, that's a little deceiving because we don't have our tax money in. So that's kind of why I would like to maybe start transferring that a little more frequently, just so we can get a true picture of where we're at. And then the next page is the fire. Again, that's very basic. We collect on the winter tax bills, the millage for the fire, and then we actually get billed from them twice a year, so that we are showing the $51,000 one bill that we got from them, and then, the one transfer that, was done here recently as part of, winter taxes. And, similar on Honeymoon Heights, we only have one bill a year for their electric bill for those streetlights. Any questions or comments as you look through that? We'll get more into it as, budget season approaches here. Of course, we have to adopt our budget in June, but, we definitely don't wanna be waiting till June to be, working through all this. So, hopefully over the next couple months, I'd like to, for, treasurer's department, clerk's department, elections, kind of get you guys all your own little sheets of, here's where you're at, here's, how much do you think you're gonna come in at for the rest of the year, and then work on rolling it forward, kind of involving versus just taking it and rolling it forward. Put a little more thought into it, and then I can work on the other areas, planning and zoning, assessing, and, of course, our road contracts, so. Any questions?
Is there anything on here that I'm missing, on our budget for community center upkeep type thing? Like remodeling the office, getting new tables and chairs in here? Where would that fall if it were?
Well, we did, budget for
I
new
thought-
tables, I think, not sure exactly the row it was in, but I mean, we do have 1,500 budgeted for center equipment. I guess it would come out of there, but as far as like a big capital improvement, that we don't have budgeted for, but we need to start a savings fund for HVAC system. We did replace the roof, in the last 5 years, but that's something, maybe having a separate capital improvements budget, is something we should look at doing. But I also, am proposing, we do shift some of that money around, what we saved on the roads and the drains. And again, it would just be moving from one line item to the other as opposed to, dipping into our fund balance. So that is this work paper, fiscal year 25 budget adjustments. This would be the third one that we've done this year. So my proposal, in looking at, if we look at legal fees, that has been a substantial expense this year because we've done so much zoning work. I tried to sift through the invoices, and the bulk of it was, the PA 233, first drafting those amendments, for our compatible ordinance, and then the Lake Residential District, substantial amount of work, and then we did pledge the $5,000 for the appeal, of PA 233. So we're already at our legal budget for the year, and, we're gonna have, the next step would be rezoning, looking at the boundaries to draw the boundaries in for the Lake Residential District, and that will definitely involve the attorney for sure. Also, we had them review any of our agreements, whether it's fire or rental agreements, helping with other miscellaneous questions. And then, of course, we hadn't moved that $5,000 for the pledge for the PA 233. So I would propose that we take that road savings and move that into legal. And then the drain savings, take that, I mentioned that the village DDA was, over by about $650, so moving some of that there. Accounting fees with Blaine as we finish out this year. I budgeted for another, 2 to 3 hours a month with her. Hopefully we can maybe not need that much as we're, now through the W-2s and 1099s and getting our QuickBooks all revamped and our financial statements in line with our, audited statements. And then also, there's an item, I put it in the master plan line item, because, hopefully to save some legal fees, we could work with our planning firm, McKenna, on that drawing, Danielle at McKenna, and I've been playing phone tag, but her rate's a lot, wouldn't be as steep as an attorney rate, and that's right up her alley as far as planning and mapping. She did our master plan, so I allotted, an estimate. I don't know, I'll have to talk to her. I thought it was conservative at 2,500, but I don't, we'll see what she says with the difference, plugged back to legal fees, just to be safe. So again, just kind of shifting that savings, whether we use it all in these categories, I'd like to get it moved, in this mid-year adjustment. Does that make sense to everybody? Is there a motion to approve the budget adjustments?
I make a motion to approve the budget adjustments.
Is there support for it? Motion's been made and supported to approve the budget adjustments as presented. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So we'll get those posted and hopefully be able to we'll rerun these reports and maybe get some of that tax money moved, and the next couple months, start planning for next year's budget, a little more involved, so. Anything else anybody have anything else they wanna bring before the board, before we move into final public comment?
I, have been looking at several different logos. You know, they have a logo for us to put on letterhead or anything like that. And I just like anybody that has any ideas or thoughts to pool them in there, and then I'll pool together what I found and bring it up maybe next month, so we could kind of decide on some type of a logo that identifies us.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
A lot of townships do.
Especially when we get our websites, we have to look professional.
Recording secretary.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yep.
So right now, Jake Cummings has been taking the notes on the planning commission. It is hard I've been on the planning commission as the secretary. It's hard to take notes and participate with as detailed and technical of material that they have before them, so they are hoping somebody might, be interested in taking the notes for them, so I guess think about that, what options there might be. Alright, well, stay tuned on, I'll be working on this insurance quote, and also, getting, down into the details on this IT solution, so, if we have to call a special meeting, to get this stuff done before, these prices go up, we will do that, so I'll keep you guys, informed if that's the plan, so. And of course, it would be posted, for the public as well. So that brings us into final public comment, opened up to any topics.
Tammy Snyder, Cato Township. That bathroom is freezing. Like really cold. And the fan was running, so I don't know if something's going on in that section back there, but there's no, it's not warm.
Running, it sucks all the heat out of there.
Okay,
With
so,
the light on.
yeah, the light and the fan were
Right.
on. I'm
When
just
the light
saying.
is, yeah, the light is on, then the fan runs
It
automatic, and that fan
felt like I
just
was-
sucks all the heat right out of there, so I
Okay.
try to make sure that.
No,
Shut off.
no. It felt like I was outside. It's that cold in
I
there.
know, yeah. I also, yeah, opened up the
That's it.
supply closet, utility closet, cause when I got that shovel out of there, it was cold. So I'm gonna hook up those sensors.
Okay. Yeah, we do have,
Right here, I just scanned it, so.
we have some sensors through our current insurance provider provides some free sensors as far as frozen pipes and stuff, but
Well, yeah, that was my concern when I was in there. I'm like, oh gosh,
Yeah.
if this sat like
Yep.
this,
Maybe I'll
oh,
prop
it could be
the
bad.
door open when we leave, so that will help.
Okay.
Does it, does the light shut off automatically, or?
No, it's a
Yeah,
switch.
it's the switch, you just need to shut the switch off when you leave.
Yeah, so that's an electrician thing, that you can have that switch, so that fan was only turned on by a switch versus coming on when the light comes on.
Or if you had automatic, you walk in the door, the movement flips the light on, flips the fan off, when you
Yeah,
walk
that's
out,
what
you
we're talking
have
about.
automatic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Dave?
Yeah, with, that community college, they had a line, I don't know if it froze, but it broke, so they didn't have a bathroom for like 3 hours
Oh.
during the thing, I believe it was frozen.
Okay.
But, what I'm getting at, okay, on the, emblem, or for the township, you know, at the conference every year, at a particular part, they have all the flags up there on the stage. Does Cato Township have a flag up there? Most of the
At what?
townships do.
At what conference?
You know, every year they're having it in Grand Rapids this year, I forget what it's
Oh,
called.
the MTA's
MTA,
conference? Oh,
yeah.
I didn't know they
Most
had
all
flags.
townships have, it's their logo or their emblem
Yeah,
or
they,
whatever.
but Cato doesn't.
And even I'd like to see something up here,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I've seen different townships have something up there, like even a wood burning, whatever.
I guess I never noticed the flag signs, but you're saying they.
At the
Yeah.
conference, yeah, they had
Well,
it.
just, flying over a township too.
Oh, and I don't know if
No,
they
I
have
think it's
that,
like
it's
an
at the
inside,
conference,
like
every
a
township
banner kind
has
of.
their logo up there on a flag,
Okay,
so.
good to know.
Getting all sophisticated.
Any other public comments?
Information,
Nancy?
Nancy, Nancy Lundwall, Cato. In February this year, the World Ice Fishing Competition is being held on Tamarack Lake. And there are at least 11 foreign countries coming. And, they're going to be on the lake on Friday, the 14th, 15th, and 16th. The actual competition is the
February.
15th and 16th. And that's information and we could have a lot of people in town, in the area. We could have a lot of people.
It's projected to be a lot.
Wow.
I mean, this is, Michigan Out of Doors is promoting and
Bass
and
Pro,
so-
Cabela's.
oh yeah, all of
Cabela's,
the
Bass
major
Pro.
sports companies are, Cabela's and everybody's there, so.
Thanks for sharing that. Somebody back there, yep.
Yeah, Ron Buckhold, 6124 Cutler Road, Lakeview. I wanted to just go on record to say that I have had multiple discussions with my neighbors and friends that all live on the lake, on Town Line Lake. And we all feel that we fully and supported wholeheartedly in person, through letters, through videos, through everything that we've sent both to the planning commission and yourselves, and regarding the vacant lot camping. And we understand, and we're disappointed, hugely disappointed that even went with 14 days. My concern, again, is privacy for the lakefront homes, and also I understand that you can open it from May to whenever you decide it, but I would ask sincerely that you look at giving people maybe the holidays, like do the holiday weeks, like, Memorial Day, Labor Day, July 4th, like that, and try and isolate it so people like myself and others don't have to contend with a weekend warrior every weekend, 7 weekends in a row. I know you're gonna give them 14 days, and in perspective of this guy here, Dave, I understand the permitting portion of it, and I think it's a good idea, but if he was gonna try and run down every permit or every complaint on a permit from May through September, why not make it easier and just try and take into consideration a halfway point? That's all I'm really asking for, is that I think if you understand both perspectives, I understand people, we're in a different situation because both landowners, my neighbor and myself, don't own that lot in the middle. There's other people I understand wholeheartedly own property and they own the lot next to them. sure, I mean, that's just a gimme, I think that's considerable. But I think about how Mr. Kelsey's gonna try and enforce something like that, and also for the people that are on the lake that don't want that. And I just hope that when you do your final consideration, you try and limit it so we're not blasted every weekend. And an unrelated thing, I don't know much about this road commission thing, but I would like to just put my 2 cents worth in. We do live at the end of Lake Road where you go west on Cutler, and that corner is a disaster. I've only been there a year, but they said it's been that way, and I don't know if that's on your agenda or.
We actually did ask them to take a look at that
Yeah,
road.
okay.
So we're waiting to hear what their recommendation is.
Okay, super. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Ron.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Okay, we'll close final public comment. Thank you for your comments. And is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Is there support? Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?